Everyone had him figured out, or so they thought. UConn's promising but raw prospect, the defensive tone setter, the guy who does the dirty work while somebody else gets the glory, the perfect supporting piece. But here's the thing, everybody missed the point completely. Stefon Castle is not a supporting piece. He is a star, the kind of star that drops a 40-point triple-double on you without blinking. And while most young guards are out here chasing highlights and viral moments, Castle has been locked in on something different, winning in the margins. Elite point of attack defense, grown man strength, relentless downhill pressure, sneaky playmaking, and that calm, ice-cold confidence that has already caught the attention of LeBron James. Those are the reasons the Spurs trusted him, the kind of prospect coaches circle on draft boards because you plug him into any lineup and immediately your team gets tougher, smarter, and harder to beat. And those are the exact same reasons he's translating to the NBA faster than anyone expected. For a player who isn't the flashiest shot creator on paper, not the loudest name in his class, it should not look this natural. But NBA players and legends of the game have already caught on to what makes him different, and they can answer the million-dollar question, what makes Stefon Castle so special? In this video, we're hearing from active players, former stars, and basketball legends about the rookie who's turning role player labels into star-level impact. The guard who keeps bending games without forcing anything. The future Robin to the next best Batman in the entire league. Let's get into it. This is why NBA legends think Stefon Castle is absolutely unstoppable. When the Spurs drafted Stefon with the 4th pick of the 2024 NBA draft, Greg Popovich was still running that franchise, so you know Pop had a word on that decision draft night. And Pops wanted to prove it was the right call immediately. Even with the Spurs not yet built to compete, Pop saw rookie Stefon as a valuable piece from day one. And that's why just days after his NBA debut, Castle was already out there closing games for San Antonio.
Castle was on the floor with the ball in his hands a lot in those closing minutes. Is that the confidence you have in him already to put him in those situations?
Well, he was out there, right?
Yeah.
I didn't do that because I'm not confident in him.
It doesn't get more real than that. When Pops gets asked about Castle having the ball in his hands during those final crucial minutes, his answer is crystal clear. No hesitation, no sugarcoating. He says flat out, I didn't do that because I'm not confident in him. That's Pop. That's all you need to know. But Stefon was about to grab even bigger headlines less than a month later. And this time, it wasn't just about being trusted on the floor at the end of the 4th. This time, it was about him stepping up and hitting one of the most important shots of his young NBA career. In a massive win against the Golden State Warriors, Castle drilled a clutch three-pointer to put the Spurs up by 3. Ice in his veins. Rookie didn't flinch. And when his teammate at the time, the legendary Chris Paul, got asked about that moment, oh, he had plenty to say. And trust me, you're going to want to hear every word of it.
Can ever be that confident is if you put in the work. And he does it day in and day out.
CP3 is not the last legend you'll hear from in this video talking about Castle's confidence. Not even close. But Chris Paul said it best. This kid behaves like a 39-year-old out there. Think about that for a second. A 20-year-old rookie carrying himself like a seasoned veteran. Every time you watch him on that court, he's calm, he's ready. He does not fear anything or anyone. But here's the thing, that is not normal for a 20-year-old in his first NBA season. Most rookies are nervous, most rookies shrink in big moments, but not Castle. And Paul was so impressed that he went out of his way to praise him again. When Chris Paul, a guy who has seen everything in this league, keeps coming back to talk about your composure, that tells you everything. This kid is built different.
You guys know in this league now, it's not a lot of guys that play both ways. You know what I mean? And that's why, with Steph being a rook, I just love that he ain't ducking nothing. It's like whatever, and that's going to be good for him going forward.
Glad you have Steph Castle now so you don't have to chase.
Absolutely. So.
Not fearing the moment. That is something you simply cannot teach. You're either born with it or you're not. And Castle was born with it. But Chris goes even deeper than that. He talks about how absolutely refreshing it is to watch a young rookie compete on both ends of the ball with zero fear. None. And then CP3 drops something that made everyone smile. He's just glad he doesn't have to chase guys like Steph Curry around screens anymore, because guess what? Stefon will handle that now. Let that sink in. Chris Paul is passing the torch to a 20-year-old rookie to chase the greatest shooter alive. That is the ultimate sign of trust. But Chris Paul wasn't even the only legend singing Castle's praises after that Warriors game, because a future legend, Victor Wembanyama himself, was also out there praising the absolute explosion of his young teammate. When Wemby is impressed, the whole world needs to pay attention.
I have a blind trust in him. As I've said many times, he's playing like he's much more experienced than he is. I don't know where that comes from, but it's a good thing that we can trust him like that blindly, in the fourth quarter.
Victor didn't just show Castle love in that press conference. He highlighted the exact same things Chris Paul did. Always confident, always ready. And that demeanor, that mental makeup, not something you see at that age. That's why both Wemby and CP3 are basically saying the same thing. This kid plays older than he actually is, way older, like he's been in this league for 10 years already. But then came the moment that had everybody talking. When Wemby got asked directly, was that clutch three a good shot for Castle? Was it the right play? Wemby paused, and then he said this: "You are not ready for what came out of his mouth."
Figured it was a good shot for Stefon too.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, we trust him. I mean, it's knowing where we want to go and where we want Steph to be, how important we want him to be in the future. It's for me, it's a necessity that he takes these kind of shots, because we want eventually him to be a menace from everywhere. So we gotta trust him.
I mean, of course it's a good shot. He just made it. Wemby states the obvious with a straight face. Yes, the rookie should absolutely be taking those shots. But then he takes it even further. They don't just want Castle taking those shots, they need him to take them. Because as Victor puts it, they want Stefon to be a menace from everywhere on that court. And it's crystal clear, from the coaching staff to his teammates, everybody trusted Castle with their lives from day one. But here's the thing. It's not just his teammates singing his praises. And speaking of how incredible Stefon Castle has been this season, I was completely locked in watching the Spurs take on the Warriors the other day. San Antonio was chasing their 6th straight win before the All-Star break. I wanted to ride that momentum hard, especially with Wemby and Castle each dropping 40-point games during that win streak and Steph Curry sitting out injured. But instead of jumping in before tip with the Spurs already favored at 73%, I decided to wait and see how the game developed. And shockingly, the Spurs found themselves down 54-41 with 8 minutes left in the first half. Just like that, those odds crashed all the way down to 43%. But moving on, because Anthony Edwards, Ant, the truth, one of the biggest rising stars in the entire NBA, he's talked about Castle too. Here's how it went down. In early 2025, Stefon Castle got invited to the slam dunk contest during All-Star Weekend, and boy did he show out. Castle went absolutely neck and neck with Mac McClung in the final, nearly ending his entire dynasty right then and there. And Anthony Edwards, Ant, was seriously impressed.
Out of the whole weekend, what did you enjoy most about being in the Bay Area?
I enjoyed watching Stefon Castle, for sure. Yeah, the dunk contest, I enjoyed watching.
When asked what he enjoyed most during the entire All-Star Weekend, Ant didn't even pause for a single second, didn't hesitate, didn't think about it. He straight up said, watching Stefon Castle in that dunk contest. That's it. That was his answer. Now just think about that for a moment. Castle was still a rookie, fresh in the league, and he's already getting love from one of the biggest names and personalities in the entire NBA. Anthony Edwards, the guy who commands every room he walks into, was sitting there talking about a rookie like he was already that guy. But the questions for Ant didn't stop there, because what came next, even better.
Why do you like watching Steph Castle?
He's from Atlanta, Georgia. So, I mean, the roots, home roots, and I like the way he plays. I like the excitement he brings.
Ant brings up that Stefon is from Atlanta, just like him, and you can feel the pride radiating straight through the screen. This isn't just one NBA star complimenting another. This is a hometown connection. Edwards is genuinely proud of what Castle is doing. But then Ant shifts gears completely, because now he's not just talking about dunks anymore. Now he starts breaking down why he genuinely loves Stefon's overall game, the whole package. And just when you think he's done talking, he keeps going, because it doesn't end there.
What do you think he can turn into down the road?
His potential is scary. I think so. Depending on how his work ethic is, if his work ethic, how I think it is, his potential is unlimited.
Yeah, did you try it?
Yeah, for sure.
And now Ant starts talking potential, and he drops something really important. He says if Castle's work ethic is as good as he thinks it is, the potential is absolutely unlimited. Let that marinate. Unlimited. And remember, that's coming from one of the players with the highest ceiling in the entire NBA himself. One of the very few guys who could genuinely compete for MVP with a breakout season. So when Ant is talking about somebody else's unlimited potential, you better take that seriously. But Ant isn't even the most decorated voice praising Castle in this video, because there are former MVPs who have also been talking about Stefon Castle. You already know Steve Nash and LeBron James have their basketball podcast, Mind the Game, where they break down the sport and talk about young players making waves. And after Stefon Castle dropped an absolutely insane 40-point triple-double against the Mavs, they had no choice but to bring him up. They were forced to talk about him. And first up to speak on it, Steve Nash. And trust me, what he had to say was everything.
Another guy that's really kind of caught my eye is Stefon Castle. Averaging 18 points, that's 4 more than last year, 7 assists, that's 3 more than last year. True shooting at 60%, that's up 8%. I just think this guy is a two-way full court player, explosive downhill driver, playmaker, gritty, combative, physical defender. To me, the last thing to come here, and he's made some threes, is the 3-point shooting, but he can make them.
Yeah, he made a few. He made a few against us too. So yeah.
The Canadian legend himself, Steve Nash, admits straight up that Stefon Castle has caught his eye, and he starts breaking down the statistical improvements that have been turning heads. But then Nash goes deeper. He starts talking about what truly separates Castle from everyone else in his draft class. And just like CP3, Nash zeroes in on the two-way impact, the ability to dominate on both ends of the floor. But Steve doesn't stop there. He highlights Castle's absolute threat in transition, calling him explosive downhill. Picture that, a former MVP using the word explosive to describe your game. And then Nash rewards his defensive ability with one of the best labels you can get in this league, calling Castle a combative defender. The kind of defender that makes your life miserable every single possession, the kind that opposing coaches have to game plan around. And when Nash finally finishes breaking it all down, LeBron James is sitting right there nodding his head. And Bron basically agrees with everything. When Steve Nash and LeBron James are on the same page about a young player, that's not just a compliment, that's a verdict.
And if that's the last thing to come, then and the shot is not broken.
Right.
Beautiful shot.
Yeah.
That's just all about reps. It's just all about reps.
Yeah,
super. I love that kid. Love the kid.
Yeah.
Loved him. Watched him a lot in high school in the circuit. Loved this 1 year at UConn, and obviously last year, love his demeanor. He's very stoic. His demeanor never changes throughout the game. You could tell he's super locked in on whatever the job is at hand. I love his upside.
LeBron didn't just praise Castle like Nash did. Bron went beyond that. He revealed he was already familiar with Stefon's game long before he ever stepped foot in the NBA. And the reason is simple. Castle is the same age as Bronny, so LeBron had already been watching him ball out in AAU basketball for years. And just like Ant, Bron says he flat out loves Stefon's game. And just like CP3 and Wemby, he zeroes in on that demeanor, that ice-cold confidence that makes Castle so incredibly dangerous. And of course, LeBron loves the upside, the potential, the ceiling. And remember, this is coming from arguably the greatest to ever do it. When the GOAT is talking about your game like that, you have officially arrived. And when you step back and listen to every single player who has talked about Stefon Castle, you start noticing something remarkable. every single one of them highlights the exact same thing. Castle operates on that court like a cold-blooded assassin. He's not loud, he's not flashy, he might even be a little shy off the court, but that cold, quiet attitude, that represents his play style perfectly. Like Nash said, combative defender. Every single possession, he is in your face, using his physicality, making you work for every single basket. He doesn't just contest your shot, he beats you to the spot so you never even get a clean look. And his defensive ceiling is already considered absurdly high. But here's what's really shocking people. His offensive potential is turning even more heads. Same energy on offense as defense. He uses that strength and body control to attack the basket, draw fouls, and be an absolute menace downhill. Fast, long, explosive, athletic, the whole package. And that combination forces enough attention to make him a dangerous playmaker too. If that shot starts consistently falling, we could be looking at an elite scorer in this league. And most importantly, he is becoming exactly the player the Spurs need around Victor Wembanyama to turn San Antonio into the epicenter of basketball once again. So let me ask you, do you believe in Stefon Castle as much as I do? Do you think he becomes that perennial all-star who helps Wemby dominate the next decade? Or have you seen something in his game that makes you doubt these expectations? Drop it in the comments right now. I want to hear from you. And if you love deep dives into basketball stories like this, the hype, the drama, and the real story behind it all, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Don't sleep on what's coming next.